Good morning, Governor, and welcome back to the Central Arizona Project. We hope you had a pleasant morning flight over what we like to call Arizona's amazing river that runs uphill, the Central Arizona Project, something that is truly an engineering miracle. And I was privileged to be mayor of Phoenix back in 1985 when the first water arrived from Arizona's lifeline. I mean, the canal truly brings the lifeblood to Central Arizona for its tribes, its industry, its people. And that is an amazing accomplishment for 40 years until 2022, when we had a little cutback because of some shortages on the Colorado River. And I know we'll talk a little about that today. But through that entire time, this has been a reliable, consistent source of renewable water that has made the Arizona economy possible, the incredible growth that we've had in Central Arizona and Pima County, Pinal County, and Maricopa counties. So right now we're at a time of, I guess you'd call it high anxiety. Your capable water director has been in negotiations for well over 2 years, along with our general manager at CAP, and it doesn't seem like the Upper Basin is willing to do anything to try to get a resolution amicably of the challenges on the Colorado. And that time is getting short, as you know. We have huge obligations, again, to our tribes, our businesses, our people in Central Arizona that CAP tries to fulfill. But we're at a point where further cuts after the 512,000 that we took through the DCP are going to be incredibly painful to all of us. And I think many people in Central Arizona don't understand how much the CAP contributes, and therefore they don't understand how much would be lost if there were some additional cuts. And I want to thank you for bringing this group together, who are the stakeholders who are the most involved, the most at risk, the ones who I think can speak most eloquently to what this incredible resource means for our state in so many different ways. So thank you for doing that. Thank you for the leadership in making, hopefully, a unified voice from the CAP users and from the state of Arizona about how we can protect, preserve, fight for this incredible resource. Thank you.
All right, well, thank you so much, Terry, for that welcome, and thank you for hosting us here at CAP. And thank you all for being here. As you heard, I just returned from a helicopter flight over the infrastructure, and it is so incredible to see the feat of engineering that this infrastructure represents. I wanted us to get together today to do just what you said, Terry, have a unified front. Cities, tribes, agriculture, the business community, our power authority, because we want to hear from you all what's at stake in the post-2026 negotiations. We know that the Colorado River is under immense strain from drought, climate change, overuse, and we have been fighting for years to put a more sustainable framework in place. We successfully negotiated a lower basin deal in 2023 that stabilize the reservoirs and give us space to develop the long-term solution. But as you all know, time is running out. We have a deadline to meet, and we have to get to a solution. The reality is that we have serious skin in the game, and we have to work together to defend our interests. So I'm looking forward to hearing from all of you about the importance of Colorado River water and what the impacts specifically of a deep shortage would be for all of you. And I'll kick it over to City of Phoenix to start next.
Thank you, Governor Hobbs, and thank you to the CAP staff for having us here today. It's a pleasure to be able to come and speak to you about a really serious issue. My name is Max Wilson. I'm the Water Resource Management Advisor at the City of Phoenix. I thought today I would just kick us off with a story about how my family used Colorado River water in the last couple of days, and we could think about what that could mean for us. So in my family this time of year, it is Little League season. We are out playing baseball on fields that are watered by Colorado River water. At the end of those games, we come home, we take showers in Colorado River water, we drink Colorado River water, and we cool ourselves under trees that are watered by Colorado River water. fundamentally, when I look around at my son's teammates, their parents, a lot of them work in jobs where they use Colorado River water. Some are work in hospitals where they're using Colorado River water to keep people clean and safe. Increasingly, folks work in semiconductor industries where they're making the microchips that are going to keep our nation safe as we continue to work on these critical defense industries. Those are what we have to lose. If we have to lose Colorado River water, that is what's at risk here. You multiply my story with my one family times the 1.7 million people who live in Phoenix, and that is ultimately what's at stake. Valley cities, in particular, have been working hard on coming up with solutions to some of those problems. At last counting, we have about $10 billion of augmentation projects currently on the docket between 91st Avenue, advanced water purification, increasing the size of Bartlett Dam and other advanced water purification facilities. However, we can't do it alone. We simply just cannot do it alone. Arizona has come forward. We have showed that we have a plan. Other lower basin states, California, Nevada, have come forward and said they're willing to make cuts. But this is not a problem that the lower basin can solve on its own. And frankly, there is too much for us to be able to lose. So with that, just thank you again for your leadership on this issue. And we're very happy to be here today.
Thanks so much. Gila River, do you want to add to that?
Thank you, Governor Hobbs, for inviting us to this important roundtable. And thank you to the CAP staff and board for hosting the roundtable. Obviously, as the largest entitlement holder of CAP water, the community is as committed as any water user in Arizona when it comes to working toward a new Colorado River operating guidelines that are based on consensus. By 2026, the community will have contributed through DCP cuts, ICS creation, and system conservation over 1 million acre-feet to Lake Mead to help protect critical elevations. In addition, the community has worked with reclamation to develop conservation projects that will allow us to meet the ag development goals under our water settlement, but in the most efficient way possible. We have started to take steps to reduce our reliance on CAP water to irrigate our lands, and we are committed to further reducing our reliance on CAP, but it will take time and money to make this transition. As the biggest CAP water user, we also have the most to lose under these new guidelines, and any agreement will require the community's consent. But as we have shown in the past, we work towards finding yes, and remain committed to working with your administration, the Department of Interior, other Arizona stakeholders, basin tribes, and basin states to reach consensus. We've also committed resources that our team can stay engaged with, state and federal parties, and all the many important stakeholders in our region to not only work on Colorado River matters, but also engage in important decisions regarding how our state can sustain its growth in a responsible manner. Governor Hobbs, the community is committed to working with Arizona to find the best possible outcome for our state as we address the future facing our state.
Thank you. Thanks so much. Clark, do you want to chime in?
Of course. Thank you, Governor, and thank you, CAP, for pulling this together. Clark Princell, President and CEO of Valley Partnership, representing the development community in Maricopa County. And, first and foremost in the development community, we are focused on looking for certainty. When people are making investments, they are looking for certainty, not just in weeks or years, but in decades. And one of the most important items in that certainty calculation is water security and how we can ensure that those projects have water moving into the future. That certainty is what has allowed this region to grow over the decades and continue to grow, and the canal plays such an important role in providing that certainty moving forward, allowing industries like the semiconductor and other industries related to homeland security and defense to come into the region. Any sort of decisions that are made moving forward needs to take into account the important role that the river plays in the portfolios of each and every water provider in the region that we continue to work with. And we are committed as a development community to continue to provide resources to those water providers as they work to offset and ensure that sustainability continues into the future.
Thank you. Dan, agriculture took the biggest hit with the DCP. Can you talk about what more shortages would mean for the ag sector?
Yes, thank you, Governor. My name is Dan Jones. I represent most of the CAP ag pool users, for anybody who doesn't know me. So the CAP water is critically important for the Pinal County irrigation districts in particular. The districts and the actual on-farm systems in Pinal County were purposely designed and built to deliver and use CAP water from the, diverted from the CAP system over the last 40+ years. We recognized a long time ago that we faced really serious risk of shortage because CAP water is one of the main sources of our supply, and it's how we actually, it's important for us to be able to have CAP water, otherwise we can't move any of the other water supplies that we have available in our distribution system. So the irrigation district started forbearing water voluntarily in 2014 to try to stave off these shortage risks as much as possible. But post-DCP, when we have lost all of this CAP ag pool water, in the short term, what we've done is fallow half of the acres in Pinal County. So if you kind of go out through all these irrigation districts, we have 50% fallowing basically across the board in some of in the larger irrigation districts. The increased shortage risks now, we understand that we're not likely to see ag pool water anytime in the foreseeable future, but shortages to the higher priority water supplies also are a really big deal for us in the Pinal County irrigation districts because we also rely on that water through our GSF partnerships with cities and with tribes. Even a very small amount of water to those groundwater savings facilities that seems kind of insignificant to other users of a few thousand acre feet every year is still really important for us because that's the only way that we're able to actually move groundwater that we introduce into our system. So if we're just pumping in little bits of water from here or there or getting a little bit of effluent from a source and putting that into a big giant canal, we can't actually get it to the farms if we don't have sort of a base flow there. So it's easy to kind of forget that we're part of the system now if we're not actually getting ag pool water anymore. And our GSF supplies have become a lot less reliable and a lot smaller over time, but every little bit that we get is very important to us. And it really, the whole entire kind of farm system down there relies on having some of that water every year in order to make sure that we can actually get the rest of the water that we have as a reliable supply to their users when they need it.
Thank you. Chris, what about the city of Tucson?
Thank you, Governor Hobbs. Chris Avery with the City of Tucson. CAP is the foundational support of a community of 1 million people that generates a $60 billion economy. And we show the importance of Central Arizona Project by how wisely we use it. We've cut our per capita water usage in half over the last few decades. We serve as much water to customers in Tucson today as we served in the early 1980s, and almost every year that timeline moves backward. The reason that that's happened is because the City of Tucson has made huge investments in our customers, in our infrastructure, and in our partnerships with most of the people at the table here today. What we need in the future is a stable environment where we can make deals with everyone who's available to make a deal. We'll make a deal with an Indian tribe, we'll make a deal with another state, we'll make a deal with another city, we'll make deals with our customers, we'll make deals with businesses to conserve Colorado River water. And we've proven that that strategy is effective and it works. And we support the governor and the Department of Water Resources moving forward in securing this vital water supply for Arizona because we've proven we can use it wisely and we can use it in ways that help the entire community, not just of Tucson, but of the Southwest and the Western United States.
Thank you. Chairman, how would deeper cuts affect auction?
Just good said it, Governor. Beautiful morning. My name is Gabriel Lopez. I'm the chairman for the Auction Indian community where our water is our lifeblood. Our farms is a vital source of not only as an enterprise, but as a part of who we are as auction people. Our rights to the Colorado River delivered by the Congressional First first congressionally confirmed tribal water settlement dating back to 1978. In that settlement, the United States recognized its failure of its trust responsibility to the community by allowing our only source of water, which is groundwater, to be depleted to the point where we can't rely on it. To replace the groundwater, the United States guaranteed the community high-priority Colorado River water, which comes through the Central Arizona Project. With the use of CAT water to meet our domestic needs of our community members and our commercial enterprises, which funds our government, things like housing, education, public safety, assistance to our elderly, Colorado River water is the only reliable and clean source of water to our community. Because of this history and reliance on CAP water to meet all our needs, our settlement is unique. It guarantees the community to receive a permanent supply of CAP water delivered to our reservation, and that supply can never be cut below 72,000 acre-feet annually. With that while we have an entitlement 85 acre-feet, we have already lost 10% of our historical CAP supply to cuts. Not only have we sacrificed this water without compensation, but since 1998, we have leased water to Del Webb to supply up to 10,000 acre-feet annually to the Anthem community up the road. We use what we have left to meet our domestic needs of our community members and our commercial enterprises. This includes Ogden Farms. Today, we farm approximately 16,000 acres and are one of the largest farming operations in the Southwest. Our past tribal leaders foresaw the importance of our water and made tribal investments, securing water rights settlements, developing state-of-the-art irrigation systems, water supply treatment facilities, and diversifying our economy. We understand that compromises must be met across the basins. Systems losses will likely be accounted for at some point in the lower basins. But our settlement is worded to that we cannot be cut in a manner that one size cannot fit all. The heated negotiations. The federal government is fully aware of this, and CAP and states understands our position. We are the first tribe to secure a settlement, but not the only one. And in Arizona, most of the settlements rely on CAP, on delivery through the CAP supply. That means CAP can't be cut because it's a junior user, and CAP can't manage all the water users exactly the same because of various settlements. Tribes like us hold senior water rights, and the federal government settled in good faith with the water, and CAP has privilege to deliver and must continue delivering. Make no mistakes, we know it's important to everyone to do their part and conserve water in this time of mega drought. Over the years, we have transformed most of our farm fields into sprinkler irrigations, resulting in substantial water savings. We have partnered willingly without compensation to cut our water supply with planning and foresight, and being good neighbors and partners. We expect as a sacred and good faith obligation and agreements to be honored. As a reminder, we have no other source of water available to us. This is an impetus to our settlement. There are no easy decisions to be left, and we all must work together to protect our water and the place that we call home. Thank you.
Thank you. Vice Chairwoman?
Skugsiatic, Maniapchigit, Carla Johnson, Vice Chairwoman, Thon Nation. Thank you so much for having us. Governor Hobbs, the Thon Nation, Chairman Jose, and myself stand by that together we're stronger. The Womo Baichi Skook. So we appreciate you taking on this, your leadership in this process, and for this opportunity to present the nation's perspective on these vitally important issues. CAP is a primary source of water to the nation's farms, Chukthok and San Javier cooperative farms. It also provides water for riparian restoration at the Wakiktan project and supports livestock activities on the San Javier district. The nation settled our outstanding water claims in the Tucson Active Management Area under the congressionally approved Southern Arizona Water Rights Settlement Act, commonly known as SWARSA. This settlement has proven critical not only to the nation, but to our neighbors during recent shortages. Over the years, we have entered into agreements with irrigation districts and provided them with renewable Colorado River water to reduce the amount of groundwater needed for agriculture. We also have stored water in underground storage facilities throughout the CAP service area in order to bank water that may be recovered by the nation or communities we partner with when Colorado River water may not be available. Deep shortages could prove catastrophic for the on- and off-reservation communities that depend on our settlement water and would undermine the core foundation of SWARSA. Our settlement has allowed all Tucson entities, including the nation, to responsibly grow and develop their communities and economies with certainty. It is imperative that Arizona secures the water needed to protect the nation's entitlement for the reasons we state. Deep shortages also threaten the viability of CAP as a water resource for future settlements. The vast majority of the water rights associated with the nation's reservation land remain unsettled. Other tribes are also working to settle their water rights. CAP is essential for these future settlements, whether to deliver CAP project water or other water. Again, thank you.
Thank you. Jordy?
Thank you, Governor. Thank you, CAP, for allowing me to be here. I'm kind of come at this a little bit different because of I work for the Arizona Power Authority, and the water, we've heard a lot today about water, but there's a lot that needs to be discussed about power. And especially the impacts that drought has had on water. Some of the attributes of hydropower include that it's renewable, it's low cost, and it's dispatchable. Some less obvious, but just as critical attributes are that hydropower is crucial for national security, for economic stability, and for public health and safety. And that's because hydropower is mostly used to move water, pump water, and treat water. Starting around the year 2000, hydropower generation has been negatively impacted by drought. Just this year, in 2024, the Hoover Dam produced approximately 66% of its contracted amount of hydropower. This is fairly consistent throughout the river system with an estimated monetary impact of over $200 million annually. These effects are felt by hydropower customers located throughout the state, especially in rural Arizona. CAP, which serves close to 80% of the population in the state, is one of our largest customers. The magnificent river that runs uphill that President Goddard mentioned flows largely uphill because of hydropower. In addition, post-2026 operations will likely result in a further reduction in the amount of hydropower that's going to be generated. Using basic supply and demand principles, we have more need to buy power than ever before, and there is a shrinking amount of power available on the market, which means replacement power will continue to rise. So some of the things that we're working on to try to help this is, number one, we're engaging in the post-2026 NEPA process to ensure that water releases between the upper and lower basins, they continue to be equitable and not favor one lake over another. Another thing that we're working on is we're looking for projects, firming projects, to find additional power that can be low cost, that can help to really move water, treat water, and pump water. As we get closer to putting in place the post-2026 operation guidelines, ensuring the long-term viability of hydropower needs to be part of the solution. And with that, thank you, Governor.
Thank you so much. So clearly a lot at stake for us here in Arizona. Tom, you have the unenviable task of defending all of this in the negotiations. So why don't you give us the latest?
Thank you, Governor. So I'll just start by saying that the state of negotiations is really critical at this point in time. The governor mentioned time is short. We have a very intense schedule over the next couple of months. The federal government under this administration has engaged in a much more meaningful way than where we ended up with the prior administration. On February 13th, Nevada, California, and Arizona signed a letter to this administration asking them to do so and asking them to show more risk to all of the states in the basin to try to help facilitate a collaborative outcome. And I think we're on a positive path with the federal government to hear those outcomes. I'll share with you, Governor, some of the principles that we have been following as we have talked with our colleagues in the other basin states and with the federal government. And again, I've noted repeatedly over the last couple of years that every state and every sector of the economy must contribute to the solution to the imbalance in the Colorado River system. And interestingly, this position was recently shared by a group of water academics from both the upper and lower basin in their, quote, 7 pillars, unquote, paper that was just recently published. So perhaps we're finally getting some traction in the basin with that position. Again, the lower basin already has proposed a more holistic approach to river management that is based on full system health and hydrologic conditions, and enforceable reductions in water use in both the upper basin and the lower basin are necessary. And these principles are at the heart of the alternative proposed by the 3 lower basin states in March 2024. And again, as the lower basin states already proposed, conservation pools need to be created in both Lake Powell and Lake Mead as part of a post-2026 solution. Those pools can give us a lot more certainty than if we move forward without those pools. The lower basin states have already proposed conserving enough water annually to eliminate the system's chronic 1.2 million acre-foot deficit. And just a closing note, Governor, Lake Mead's water levels would be more than 100 feet lower today without the action and investment taken over the past 20 years, including nearly 4.7 million acre-feet saved by Arizona entities since 2014. So we are showing that we're really willing to put our money where our mouth is and take actions, and we've been doing it for over a decade, and we will be very aggressive to take collective actions moving forward for post-2026.
Thank you for that. We, as you have heard, we're at a critical deadline, but we haven't been just sitting around waiting for these negotiations. We've worked for years to prepare for greater water resilience and have taken a lot of proactive steps. And so I don't know if we have time to get to everyone, but particularly Phoenix and Tucson. And Grick, if you want to share some of the proactive steps that you've taken and that's undergoing right now around conservation.
Thank you, Governor. As Chris mentioned a moment ago, all Valley cities have seen very significant reductions in per capita water use over the previous years. In Phoenix, we still deliver less water to customers today than we did in the year 2000, despite adding hundreds of thousands of residents. Anybody who's lived in Phoenix since the year 2000 knows how different of a world we're living in today. Additionally, we've been one of the largest contributors to system conservation at the municipal level, which has been leaving water voluntarily in Lake Mead to increase lake levels, as Tom mentioned a moment ago. I think what's most important, though, however, is for us to stop focusing so much on the have-dones and the things that we have all done and look collectively at what we're going to do, what we will do moving forward. That's where I think Arizona has fundamentally led very well. We have put proposals on the table that have showed plans of how to move forward collectively as a basin, and that's what we need to continue to do moving forward. The Valley cities are doing it today. I think everybody at this table is planning on what additional steps we're going to take to improve over these incredible contributions that we've already made.
So the city of Tucson has been very innovative in the past in its use of recharge as a way of storing Colorado River water, and that allows us to help other people on the CAP system who rely on direct deliveries to treatment plants. We've successfully done that. We've partnered with not only every local water provider in the Tucson area, but also many water providers in the Phoenix area to be able to use our system to benefit everyone. We've also partnered with the Gila River Indian community to put water in Lake Mead and to conserve water on behalf of all Arizonans. What we need, Governor, is the ability to continue to make deals, to continue to build the infrastructure that's the background behind those deals. And those deals take time to negotiate, and it takes time to build the infrastructure that's the necessary component. We've proven as a state, as Tucson, Phoenix, the Gila River Indian Community, the largest allocatees of Central Arizona Project water, have proven that we can do all of those things. We can conserve water, we can make deals, we can build infrastructure if you give us time and you give us certainty. And I would like to add that we support you and Tom and Brenda in moving forward in obtaining that certainty, and we're willing to go to the mat for it. That certainty is vital to us. It allows us to react in the way that benefits all of our individual communities and all of our individual water users. But without certainty, we can't make those investments. We can't build the homes. We can't build the infrastructure. We can't build the treatment plants that we need to move forward. So we will back you up as you move forward in obtaining certainty for Arizona, and we will back anybody in the basin who is fighting for certainty and is fighting for a compromise and a deal that can be implemented for everyone in any method.
Thank you, Governor. CAP water is half of the community's water supply, so it's very important to us. Although we have reduced our reliance on CAP water, we still directly use the supply to restore portions of the Gila River that is not only culturally important to us, but also helps ensure we have sustainable underground water storage. This water is also used through leases and exchanges with local municipalities. The exchanges are particularly important to us because through them, we get access to recycled water that we can use to replace our own reservation reliance on CAP water. Deep shortages would be catastrophic and would force us to engage in litigation rather than cooperation. Thank you.
Does anyone else want to jump in on proactive work that you've done? Okay.
Governor, through the development community, we worked hand in glove with our water service providers to ensure we're producing the most efficient use as possible, also ensuring that we're maximizing indoor use, ensuring that water is going back to treatment plants as efficiently as possible. And when it is being used outdoor, it's being used in drought-tolerant plants and the sort of outdoor use that we'd want to encourage. And again, also working in tandem with our service providers to ensure that they have the resources moving forward for, as Max said, what those next projects look like, and those projects can be funded and can be onboarded as soon as humanly possible.
Well, thank you all so much. You know, I've seen firsthand how the CAP canals fuel our state's economy and communities. And you've heard that we have a lot on the line in these post-2026 negotiations. So it is critical that we unite and ensure that we have the best negotiated deal and that there is equity across all of the states in sharing the Colorado River shortages. We have to ensure that federal resources continue to flow to support critical infrastructure and water conservation. And we've heard that Arizona is doing our part. So I know that we're going to continue to come together as a state to forge a path forward and continue our thriving way of life in the desert. And that means defending the Colorado River water, which we are prepared to do. So thank you all so much for being here today and your participation, and most importantly, your continued partnership. Thank you.